This is Xiao Ling. Xiao Ling works for Booty Burgers and his manager hates him so much for no reason. He's showering because he wants to see his small wee wee. Now he's on his way to work. He thinks it's gonna be another bad day because he's gonna see his manager. Xiao Ling walks slowly because he doesn't want to work, but he has to make money because his parents neglected him for being Chinese. Xiao Ling is working hard because he wants his manager to be proud of him. A man orders a meal from Xiao Ling and the man hurries Xiao Ling because the man is late to work. Xiao Ling realized the man didn't pay, but he doesn't care. The manager, whose name is Joe, saw what Xiao Ling did. He got angry and beat him up. Xiao Ling acted like nothing happened. He got food for the homeless woman he saw earlier. Xiao Ling came up to the homeless woman to give her some food because the restaurant was weak today. Xiao Ling has a convo on the homeless woman because he doesn't talk to anyone but himself and his manager Joe. Xiao Ling wants to make friends with the homeless woman because Xiao Ling is hated for being Chinese. Xiao Ling now knows the name of the homeless woman and her name is Marie. One day later, Xiao Ling was trying to get ready before closing Booty Burgers until Marie came and asked for food again. Xiao Ling didn't care and said sure and tried to give her food. Until Joe came and Xiao Ling didn't realize that Joe was listening. Joe beat Xiao. Marie was shocked and scared, so she hurried to leave. 5 years later, Xiao Ling changed his hairstyle, but he still looks ugly. Xiao Ling grew a beard. He fell asleep because he was watching Thanos recap all night. A customer walked inside Booty Burgers and saw that Xiao Ling was sleeping. The customer called Joe the manager and Joe quickly went to Xiao Ling to wake him up. Xiao Ling hurried to serve the customer and Joe walked away. Xiao Ling changed a lot during the 5 years, but he still hasn't left his trait of being generous and being helpful. Xiao Ling is tired of his job and is thinking of resigning. Booty Burgers is almost closing and another customer comes inside, so they decide to open for a little bit longer. Xiao Ling hurries this time because he doesn't want Joe to be mad again. Xiao Ling sees another homeless man outside and wants to help him, so he goes outside thinking that Joe doesn't know. Joe hears Xiao Ling's footsteps running outside, so Joe became curious and looks to see what happened. Joe notices that Xiao Ling is talking to another homeless man. Joe is angry again because Joe doesn't want Xiao Ling to feed homeless people for no reason. Joe gets mad and talks to Xiao Ling and scolds him. He doesn't want food to be wasted and be given to homeless people for free. Joe always worries about the money. Joe has had enough of Xiao Ling because Joe keeps catching Xiao Ling giving homeless people free food. Joe almost fired Xiao Ling, but another customer came in and interrupted. Joe and Xiao Ling notices that there is someone in a limbo and they think it's a customer. Joe stops scolding Xiao Ling and told him to serve this customer and they are gonna talk again. Xiao Ling is amazed by the limbo and waits for the customer to come in. Xiao Ling quickly goes to the counter and tries to serve the customer so his shift could finally end. Xiao Ling thinks that this customer is wasting his time because she is not ordering yet. She's trying to talk to Xiao Ling, but Xiao Ling is not in the mood. Joe has no patience and wants to fire Xiao Ling already. The woman tried to introduce herself, but Joe already fired Xiao Ling. Xiao Ling is so confused and doesn't know what to do. Joe made Xiao Ling leave, but Xiao Ling gets interrupted by the woman. Xiao Ling gets curious, so he stays for a little bit longer to talk to the woman. The woman is actually Marie. Marie wanted to hire Xiao Ling because Xiao Ling helped Marie when she was just homeless. Joe heard their conversation. Joe always hated Xiao Ling, so Joe hated on Xiao Ling being hired and called Marie's business weak. Marie asked Xiao Ling if he wants to do it and Xiao Ling is thankful and excited, so he accepted it. Marie told Xiao Ling to come so she could bring her to where Xiao Ling is gonna work. Xiao Ling and Marie quickly got inside the limbo. Marie and Xiao Ling went to the mall so Marie could tour Xiao Ling and introduce him to everyone that's working there. 5 hours later, Xiao Ling and Marie finally arrived at the mall and they have been catching up. Joe has closed the restaurant to rest at the mall and Joe saw Xiao Ling and Marie talking. Joe wanted to hear what they were talking about. Marie wanted to say something to Xiao Ling and Joe became more curious, so he stayed for long. Xiao Ling also became curious. Marie wanted Xiao Ling to be co-owner of the mall. Joe and Xiao Ling are shocked. Xiao Ling accepted without hesitating. Joe was furious and jealous, but he thinks his restaurant is better, so he left. 1 week later, Joe's business was failing extremely. because he fired Xiao Ling. Joe always gets beaten up for serving the wrong food. Joe is sad every day and regrets firing Xiao Ling. Joe is getting death threats every day and gets laughed at for cooking the worst food in the history of mankind. The owner of Booty Burgers came to talk to Joe. The owner wants to close Booty Burgers because of Joe. Joe is so scared and worried that he's gonna be poor and no one will talk to him. The owner doesn't care because Joe is a mistake. The owner doesn't care that Booty Burgers is closing because Xiao Ling actually hired the owner to be the manager of the mall, and the owner laughs at Joe. 2 years later, Joe has become homeless and has been greedy for money. However, Marie and Xiao Ling became even more richer. Marie and Xiao Ling ran up to Joe. Joe realized it's them and Joe shouted out Xiao Ling's name. Xiao also realized that it's Joe and Xiao became happy because Joe is now homeless. Joe asked Xiao Ling and Marie for help because Joe is very greedy for money and desperate. Xiao Ling asked what happened to Joe, but Xiao Ling isn't really curious, he just wants to ask Joe. Joe doesn't want to answer and just wants Xiao Ling's money. Joe asked for help again and Xiao Ling wants to help Joe. Joe is very excited and thinks that he's getting money again and would be able to open Booty Burgers. Xiao Ling turned around. Joe thinks it's a surprise and he's excited. Instead, Xiao Ling pulls out a fucking gun and shoots Joe because he fucking hates Joe. Thanks for watching.